welcome to another episode of Exploring the Vintage NFT Space podcast with Zero G. Today I'm excited to have back with me Blackstar. Blackstar, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Zero G. It's been a long time.
It's been too long, and always enjoy talking to you.
Yes, I do as well.
Yeah, it's we were just chatting. There's been I don't know, in about the it's been about a year, and since then there's been just a ton of stuff that's transpired across both the crypto and normie and world. I mean, all sorts of. It's been a chaotic year,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff going on. So, I thought, well, why don't we start out with something that I'm not familiar with? Let's talk about this Robinhood chain.
Yeah, so apparently Robinhood, which is like a very big what is it? A neo bank, I would say.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
it's almost like maybe I don't know how I know in at least in part it's also a brokerage because I
yes,
remember
yes.
because I remember during the first time I heard about it was during COVID when all the normies started basically YOLOing and like degenerate trading using Robinhood was one of the places where they were trading a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was also like the reason why GME
Yeah.
got like pumped when they all used Robinhood, and now Robinhood uses that as their reputation, right?
Mhm.
In some way that it is easy to trade everything, and yeah,
Well, one of
so
the
it's
things
like a
that I heard that one of
finance
the
app.
ways that Robinhood was like I heard that they either were zero fee or low fee, and one of the ways that they were able to do that and still be profitable is that they were taking their order books and their flows, and they were selling private access to that to these other Wall Street firms like I think Citadel, and basically
Mm,
they were making money on all their users trades and traffic that way.
mm,
So like
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, so this company that was like mainly focused on like stocks and ETFs and a little bit of crypto, they launched their own sidechain, which is called Robinhoodchain. And now it's like the first, I would say, the first big um, market. Like the market has been very stale for the past year, I have to say. Like nothing really happened neither in crypto nor in NFTs. NFTs have disappeared from my timeline. There is nothing relating to NFTs, and it is maybe it's because of my settings on the X app, but there is basically like nothing going on, like no new
it's the
experiment that has like pierced through nothing.
It's the same for me. Like the NFTs basically have disappeared from my timeline, outside of like one every now and then. Whereas it used to be a regular thing. So I don't know whether the algorithm got changed or if it's just a reflection of the fact that everyone's already left, you know?
Yeah, and it's interesting because there are like fewer people active than before the hype.
Mhm.
Like people got so like it was so devastatingly destructive. Like it was a total annihilation of morale and belief uh, in the NFT space, and especially PFPs. Right?
Yeah, oh, totally.
I don't see even a pudgy penguin anymore. Right?
That's a good point because I think last time we talked, the Pudgy Penguins had pumped a bit because they had some founder that was promising, like the usual, like I don't
Yes.
know. And I think that pump it died out because again, like I don't know, like maybe they eventually will turn it into a mainstream brand, but I don't know. Like, yeah, but the whole PFP thing, outside of a little bit of CryptoPunks, I haven't seen anything. Like even Bored Apes, like really Bored Apes and their that whole ecosystem cratered out. I think um that was something that's happened in the last year too, is um Yuga transferred the IP, and I think most of the at least they transferred the IP rights to an ownership, like a holding company called Node. Um, so Yuga no longer has anything to do with punks, I believe.
Okay. Ah,
Yeah,
yeah. I remember. Yes,
yeah. I
I
don't know
remember.
what they.
Yeah.
I don't know if they transferred the punks to, or if they still hold the punks. But the IP ownership is now in custody of Node, which is a kind of an institute that's focused on digital art preservation, that type
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah. It's interesting because like I have forgotten about all these. Like I have forgotten about Azuki's, and because I'm like looking at it right now, right?
Mhm.
All these people they just disappeared from my memory until you mentioned it. Because I'm also as well, like I'm still active in the NFT Discord, in the
Mhm.
NFT Relics Discord every day, of course, right? It's my online family in some
Mhm.
ways,
Yeah,
and
100%.
it has been for the last almost 5 years, right? And it's always fun to see like Godistag is releasing stuff, and like there are always like some sales going on, right? Some
Mhm.
Ethereum sales and new buildings and everything, or Zax, who did like the naming exploit on the Mooncat names. Did you?
Yeah, that was really clever.
I named this cat 10,000 times. And he got like kicked or banned from the Mooncat Discord, which is still active, right?
Yeah.
Mooncat is still active, um, and they're still holding their floor price, right? So
Mhm.
we have this endless kind of stability, and I think, of course, it's mainly rotation by the same people, but it's still interesting. We had over the year we had some people that joined NFT Relics, right?
Mhm.
And that became like daily members as well.
Yeah.
Um, so and I haven't like um changed my position on it. It's just that other things like NFTs in general just kind of disappeared, right?
Mhm.
But I'm still a believer in the technology, right? I'm still a believer in the idea of scarce digital objects and everything surrounding it, and I believe in a comeback. Of course, I do.
Yeah, I mean, it's speaking of some of the newer members, it's been quiet, but it's been interesting to see, some of the people that have come around. Um I've helped one member get both a rare Pepe and a Lord Keck.
Yeah.
I mean, like, but
Wow.
some people are making some fantastic acquisitions right now that I think are going to age really well.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, if you have like, if I had the funds, I'd be doing the same thing. But so I think it's cool to see other people that, like, it obviously clicked for them, and you know, they're making some big purchases, and yeah, I think in the last year I've moved or helped move like three or maybe four Nakas. It's been interesting to kind
Yeah.
of watch that market too. Um, and I think I've got one lined up for later this week too, which I'm very excited about. So
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, a very big collector, very passionate. So yeah, very exciting to see that. But I guess kind of circling back around, um, so what is the like? Why is Robinhood launching a side chain? Because I wasn't really familiar with this until Virtual Alaska shared his NFT collection that lives on there.
I don't know why. It just popped like onto my screen,
Hmm.
but of course, if there is like a very big, it's like Coinbase,
Hmm.
right?
Oh yeah.
And people they just use it as an opportunity to yeah, to launch meme coins and to launch like dexes
Oh,
and
okay.
perps apps and everything, right? So there is always
Got it.
this kind of
Kind
race of
kind of like
who
base, but not on a, outside of Coinbase.
uh yes. So
Yes.
and it's I would say that Robinhood is like I don't know if it's bigger,
Hmm.
but I think it's bigger than Coinbase. And so it was like a very big deal that, and also the founder of Robinhood, or the CEO, is like he's actively pushing the stuff that is built on, right? So he's actively pushing memes and other projects.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah,
And
so
since
he's yeah.
since I heard that earlier well, in the last week and a half, I think that news is the only reason why F pumped several $100s, I think, off of the Robinhood thing. Um,
Yeah, yeah, that's possible. That's possible. It's also like it has been ages until like that anything has changed in the market, right?
mhm.
Because crypto felt dead, everything felt dead. It was like I never had this bad of a sentiment in crypto ever, right? When
Yeah,
nothing is going on.
yeah. Well, I mean, that kind of brings up something else. I thought we'd kind of at least touch on is, um, I think the last time we talked was right after or before the election in 2024 in the US. Um, and around that time, it was like there was a lot of positive sentiment um, towards crypto and Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit an all-time high of 120 and change, and I think F got back to 4,000 right after that election. And since then, it's been straight down, in part due like the actions of our the U.S. president and the administration and his family have been so scandalous and reprehensible that they've they've really tarnished what was already a pretty, in a lot of ways, kind of a little shady industry. They made it look really terrible. I think that's really set us back a lot too.
Mm,
Um, I mean, it's bad.
yeah, it is not better in Germany, right?
Hmm.
In Germany, we have also a lot of problems. I guess the same problems
Hmm.
as in the US. It all feels like very like parallel movement,
Hmm.
and yeah, also the whole like what is going on with AI and this like accelerating and just unbelievable rates. Like we have like Claude or
Yeah.
Claude, I don't know, where you can just generate apps and uh, in like 10 seconds, right? It's crazy. It is like it feels unreal. Like this year has been feeling unreal, and also I have no idea where we are going to land, right? I have
Yeah.
no idea.
It's funny. That's the other, I guess that's the other half of what I've kind of been watching happen in one of the reasons I think crypto and NFTs are super dead is that all of the speculative money, hot money, has gone into semiconductors, AI, NVIDIA, the whole AI ecosystem. Like the AI has become a like it's become a bubble of enormous proportions that I think I think we're poised for a big market crash because of how overvalued these, at least in the US AI stocks are. Um,
Mm.
so like one of the things that's like just this week we had the release of Kinney K3, which is a open source that they're supposed to release the weights to, a model that is basically as good as anything that Anthropic puts out, but is cheaper to run. And again, you can run it yourself if you have
Oh
the
my
hardware.
God.
Yes, yeah, it's just like DeepSeek again, but for the highest tier. It's the gist is that like these like OpenAI and Anthropic, they thought that they could basically throw enough money at it to where they could basically create like a technology moat and then pull a ladder up behind them and prevent anyone else from ever achieving that. But
Yeah.
but they weren't able to pull that off. So now there's no way to really justify like their capitalization and their price when these open source cheaper models exist. Why would a company, why would any business pay, let's say 5 or 10 times more for what is essentially becoming a commodity, right?
Mm.
So so I think a lot of these a lot of these companies are going to really drop in value, you know. And
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of money that's been pumped into it, at least in the US, it's in the hundreds of billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars in
Yeah.
capex that they've been dumping into this stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah, it is really crazy. Like like they've sold more NVIDIA cards than there exists data center space and power to plug them into. So before they can even power them on, they're going to be obsolete by,
Yeah.
the rate of change in these GPUs is very intense. So, a 5 year or a 3 year old GPU is going to be much less efficient than the latest model. I don't know, it's
Yeah.
weird. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. I read something about that semiconductors and the technology behind it. They are people think, or like scientists think that they're slowly reaching their physiological limits.
Hmm.
Like you cannot build more compact stuff because it's like at almost an atomic level.
Yeah.
So that's interesting as well to see like where's how far can we go, right? How
Yeah,
crazy
I
can
think
it get?
yeah, one of the newer fab processes that they're researching, I saw a picture this week. They were showing that it was down into like I think the double digit number of atoms that these
Oh my
transistors would be
God.
made out of. Yeah, I mean you can't you can't go much further than that with the conventional manufacturing. So there'll have to be a another, to make big leaps, there'll have to be a another shift in paradigm. I know
Mm.
I read like 10 or 15 years ago about this is just a research paper, but they were talking about using graphene based semiconductors, and that if that ever panned out, then they could basically hit current GPUs like operate in like a gigahertz frequency range, and
Wow.
they were talking about it like if this graphene based chip making panned out, then they could possibly be like terahertz, like again, order of like increase it by a factor of 1,000.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So who knows, But
Graphite.
oh, graphene.
Graphene. So
Mhm.
it's a crystal, right?
So graphene is it's a 2D sheet of carbon that's linked in like these hexagonal uh sheet, essentially. Instead of just being random, it's all in a uniform sheet.
Okay.
Yeah, it has very interesting properties. It's
Graphene. Ah, okay, yeah. It's a It's a carbon modification that is only one atom layer thick.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Graphene.
but I just like the from what I kind of went down the rabbit hole on this AI and the finance bubble this last like I don't know 8 or 9 months, and I just think that you know, hey, I'm a terrible investor, all that stuff, but it's got me spooked to where to me it reminds me of another, you know, like 2008 or 2000 or whatever bubble, because there's so much money that's been pumped into this, and then the debt is not like it's not just the AI companies that are will be impacted if this goes down. Like they've sold debt that's now being held by insurance companies and pensions and all this other stuff. So
Hmm.
if this does go down, it would impact the broader market.
Yeah. Well, I'm I have to say I'm very thankful for AI because I use it daily. It's
It it is
it's
great. I mean,
it is great, but
yeah, I
you
the
never know. Like
yeah,
the
I mean,
internet was also great.
yeah, yeah. I mean, like the thing that or the way I use AI quite a bit too, and it's not like I'm saying that there's not value there. There's tremendous value there. I just don't think that it's there to be captured in the way that these companies thought they could, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, it's definitely an interesting time to be watching these markets for sure. But I think that's part of what sucked the oxygen out of crypto and NFTs is that, for example, like Micron, which is a chip maker, semiconductor manufacturer, you know, memory maker, all that kind of stuff. I think their stock did like 100x or something or a 50x in the last 2 years. It's just, you know, these historic monster runs. So
Yeah. The, what is the name of the AI you said was open source? Some KMI
Kimmy, yeah,
Kimi
Kimmy
3
K3.
Kimi K3. Okay, I have to write that down for
Yeah, and
reference.
DeepSeek is supposed to release a new model again soon as well. That this is there's probably going to be another, you know, another major release as well. So
Yeah, it's crazy. The AI wars.
I know, right? The thing that I think is funny is that the U.S. based companies were trying to basically uh, create it and hoard it for themselves and make it proprietary, and it's the
Yeah,
Chinese outfits that are open sourcing it and preventing them from basically, you know, keep holding it hostage. So
yeah,
yeah, you know, I mean, kind of segueing from Robinhoodchain, you know, so you're saying that they're basically supporting and hyping up the usage of Robinhoodchain. One of the things that happened in the last week and a half is I saw on Twitter some of the punks were cyberbullying Brian Armstrong for years. He's had this like fake punk as his
yes,
PFP on Twitter, and and they were cyberbullying him over it. And he now owns and has a hoodie of CryptoPunk as his PFP now. Thought that was pretty
yeah.
funny.
It was like the one with the bald head, right?
Yeah, yeah, he had that
Yeah,
fake bald head one. Yeah.
yeah. I always thought that he owned one.
No, no, it was fake all along. You know, and it's funny. I wrote that article like 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And one of the tenets I put out there is that in the future, people in the crypto space wouldn't be considered legit if they didn't own any of these like culturally relevant digital assets. And it's funny to see at least a tiny bit of that has come true. Where to watch Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, get cyberbullied into getting a crypto punk.
I mean, it's punks, they have like, I mean, what good is a digital identity if you can use it for all these years unnoticed that you actually own it, right?
Well, I think it's just kind of funny for someone who's as wealthy as he is to use a fake PFP. It's like this is a drop in the bucket to him. Like I don't know. It's just I thought it kind of just proved how out of touch he was to
Yeah,
basically because it was literally a fake punk. It was the
yes,
same
yes.
style. Yeah. Anyway,
I
so
think it also doesn't exist in this configuration.
the one that he
Right.
used to use, yes,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly, it was a fake one.
Because it would had like one trade or like zero trades, like something like very like without any. They're like these one trade punks. You only have like a like you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think the fake one he had was like a one trait smiling.
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't know if there's one that exists like that. At least one with the skin color that he had.
yeah.
So
Huh.
anyway, I thought that was pretty funny to see him you know get mocked into getting a punk. Now he
Yeah,
apparently owns three. So
yeah. Do they still like do punks still do their meetups? Are there still like punk meetups going on?
I don't really keep up with that stuff. Um they've had a couple of events, but I haven't really watched them the last year just because I've kind of avoided going to any crypto based meetups for a while. I've never been to one
Yeah,
for various reasons. I may go to one in the future, but um I've just been kind of leery about that.
I was like, I have to say that the crypto events that I went to, like there were some very good ones. For example, like the HNFT Fest. I still, I still, yeah, think about it. It was like in 2022, I think,
Yeah.
October 2000. And it was just, I would say, it was like one of the best times of my life. Um, it was just perfect, right? The people, the weather, everything, the circumstances, and I'm like yearning for something similar where I have like this like because in my private life I'm very like I'm intellectually like deprecated. Is it? I don't know if that's the right word, but I feel like very like unseen or like it's always this part of my brain that is almost never active that I can't use. Right? It's just on my own,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I felt very, and I also I still feel very fulfilled in the role that I took with vintage NFTs and everything, right? And I really hope that we can all come together one day and just celebrate and yeah, and move on.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. I'd be more akin to like the one there's been a couple that I wish I could have gone to, which would be like the HNFT ones. I think the bigger ones, uh I don't know, like part of it is an OPSEC thing, like going to the big Bitcoin ones. Um
Uh,
I don't know. I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about that. I may do the Nashville one next year. We'll see.
yeah, Bitcoin is like I don't know. It feels compromised.
Yeah. Well, actually, that was something else I wanted to talk about. So,
Okay.
yeah, one of the things that came out since we talked is I think we've mentioned it before, but like Roger Ver wrote a book called Hijacking Bitcoin 2 or 3 years ago now, and
Yeah.
he's basically saying that going back into the early and mid 2010s that Bitcoin was hijacked and that they were compromised.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, um, uh, we have documentation backing that up from the last batch of the Epstein files.
Yes, yes,
Um,
I heard about that. Yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting. One of the things I think is very funny is that we have right now, there's these discussions going on between like pro and con BIP 110, which is like this effort to essentially censor transactions or limit like what transactions would be considered valid.
Yeah.
Uh, and one of the things I think is interesting, and I don't think it's a coincidence, is that so Holdernot wrote a great series of articles um, covering the recent history of Bitcoin Core that really show that, from like 2019 on, like there's a group that has basically they've exerted an amount of control and influence in a very put it, devious manner. Anyone who reads the articles, like I don't see how you could have a lot of faith in the manner in which Bitcoin Core is operating. Like whether or
Yeah.
not you agree with what they did, it's to me, it's really the way in which they did it is the huge problem, right? So anyway, but in the whole like BIP 110 or like pro and con, no one is connecting the dots between like like the previous hijacking and the earlier 2010s with why like how this almost kind of either necessitates or doesn't necessitate like transaction filtering, right? Like
Yeah.
the deal is that like they they shut the door on scaling the like raising the block size limit. So the only way that you're going to get scaling is through like these other more creative means. And if you start basically filtering and only limiting in like traditional normal transactions, and there's no way to scale essentially,
Mm, interesting.
right? So like there's different proposals, and again, it's not like I'm necessarily even agree with the way that the like and there's a lot of financial incentives with all the people that are trying to do things in the space. But long and short of it is if we're not willing to if we're not really willing to increase the block size limit, then we have to do more creative things. Like
Mm,
there's uh I mean unless we're willing to admit that Bitcoin has failed and we're only going to allow 7 transactions a second, right?
yeah.
So it's I don't know, it's just kind of it's a very it's kind of a strange time for Bitcoin, and it just I don't know. I guess the level of there's a lot less dialogue around like the implications but of Roger's book and also like Hovelnot's articles in terms of like the integrity of core and like the project is in the direction of the project itself, right? So
The thing is, I mean, I remember Roger Ver from
mhm.
back in 2017
Yeah,
because he was a an absolute he was a meme machine, right?
yeah. Oh,
Not
totally.
not not intended, right,
Yeah.
from his
Oh,
side.
hmm
Uh, the the way he um promoted Bitcoin Cash, right?
hmm
And he insisted that you say Bitcoin Cash, right?
Yeah.
Not Bcash.
Yeah.
There is this video where
Oh,
someone
yeah.
in an interview says Bcash, 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 and he's like giving him the finger, right?
Yeah.
And he's like very angry. Like you can always find this. I always have this scene in my mind, right? When I think about Roger Ver, and like it was back in the 2017 bubble, right?
Yeah.
And it was my first bull run as well that I absolutely failed to. Like I learned a lot of stuff, all the good stuff I learned in this bull run.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I look back at Roger Ver in a different light. I mean, he I'm not saying he's an angel or anything like that, but I do understand and like he must have been incredibly frustrated to witness like one of the things that he alleged in his book that we now basically have evidence for is Ghislaine Maxwell was a super mod for Reddit. Um,
Yeah.
uh, Epstein was an agent for the Rothschilds and invested in Blockstream, Coinbase, helped fund some of the Bitcoin developers. He came
Wow.
up with it looks like he was one of the first people to push the narrative of digital gold instead of cash, right? Because
Yeah.
like the whole thing is that if Bitcoin is limited strictly to this like asset at like almost like just a settlement layer, then like it's not a threat to the banks. They already have gold already exists. So if they just relegate it to another instrument, kind of like gold that isn't used as cash, then they can deal with that, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's in but so one of the big things that Roger was saying is that essentially Reddit was heavily censoring the debate, and now we have like again knowing that Ghislaine Maxwell was uh, one of the like I think top 10 Reddit mods. So either it's very conceivable that either her or someone that she directed was in charge of censoring the Bitcoin subreddit.
Mm, interesting. I mean,
Mhm.
it's interesting that it goes back so far, right?
Yeah,
And like giving the because I remember Bitcoin as being like this darknet currency,
hmm,
right? And the popularization of Bitcoin as a darknet is specifically a criminal use case, right?
yeah,
And also with Ross Ulbricht,
yeah, uh-huh.
right? That he just got pardoned,
Hmm.
right? Like it's all it seems a little bit it seems orchestrated, right?
The other thing that is kind of related to our last conversation about this subject is one of the things that came out is remember that fake Zcash pump.
Yeah.
That was like super. It was obviously an op. Well, one of the things that this like not related necessarily to that pump, but one of the things I thought was really interesting is Epstein also uh, had a private invest, like they also invested in Zcash as
Yeah.
well. So like, okay,
Oh my god, the Zcash pump. Oh my
yeah,
god. Oh, I'm forgetting all of these bangers, right?
yeah, I know, right? Jeez,
Out of nowhere, it just pumps, and everyone becomes an expert on privacy coins,
yeah.
right?
All people went on CNBC, Brett, like saying how Zcash was like the next Bitcoin or something like that,
Yes,
and
yes,
they just oh yeah, that was the other thing is they found a super critical bug in Zcash where they couldn't prove the supply of the shielded pool in the
oh,
last year, which is terrifying. So
yes, yes, death sentence, death sentence. Oh my god, oh my
so there's
god.
there's I know one of the theories that was going around on Twitter is that potentially some people already knew about the exploit. Were minting like new Zcash coins and paying people to pump it in order to have the liquidity to dump on their heads as they anyway, who knows. But I just thought that was funny. Uh, like like if you're I always knew it was an op because if you were serious about privacy, like to me, the most serious privacy coin that's going out there right now is still Monero. Like it's the
Yeah,
only thing that's
yeah,
actually accepted by darknet markets. Like
yes,
if you
yes, exactly.
the for it's the only coin where people are literally putting their life on the line by using it,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
what they're choosing. So
yeah. I know. It's and the thing is, like, there was also a very there was like a run on Monero,
Mhm. Yeah,
and it did like I don't know, it went from 150 to like, was it 800?
it got to at least like 5 or 6. I think it got over 6.
Yeah, I think like for a very small time. And
Mhm.
what happened was there was like a Chinese hacker or something, and he traded all the Bitcoin he had to Monero.
Yeah,
That's why it pumped so hard, right? And then it came crashing right down again. I don't know where it is right now, but yeah, this is just like we have so many funny things, and you never like the whole landscape
Mhm.
of crypto has changed so dramatically, right? It's
Yeah,
it's
100%.
it's nothing like it's used to be. And it's a little bit like I'm a little bit sad because of that,
Mhm.
because I wish that we had like more time in this underground nerd space, right? But
Yeah,
it's got mainstream very quickly.
well, remember when I was saying on the record that like I was a little bit leery about this like onboarding and normalizing Bitcoin and these financial instruments
Yeah,
because this is kind of like the forte of bankers, and bankers are not the friend of Bitcoin, right?
yeah,
Um, and lo and behold, there's been a ton of financial chicanery, and and one of the things that has been kind of really wild, in a similar vein to watch play out is Saylor and MicroStrategy. Uh, Geez. Oh man, now he is such a like he's gone so off the rails that now he is actually, I think, one of the big hindrances or things that
oh
are
my
just
god.
keeping a lid on the Bitcoin price, right? So for people who haven't paid attention or hadn't seen the news, so like Michael Saylor had been going on the podcast circuit for years, like basically saying, just all you have to do is just buy Bitcoin and like never sell Bitcoin. And he said himself that they would never sell Bitcoin. And for years and years they had accumulated over 800,000 Bitcoin as of this year,
Yeah,
and Sailor started playing some more and more complicated financial games with all these financial products, including these issuing these financial products that were like guaranteed. I think right now Stretch is guaranteed like 11% yield. Well, as you and I know, like Bitcoin doesn't create yield on its own unless the price
yeah,
goes up. And
yeah,
anyway, he got himself into a really big problem. Now they've sold several thousand Bitcoin and have basically stated uh, their again, the new quote unquote strategy is that they're going to most likely be continuous sellers, at least for the foreseeable future. So instead of being one of the main liquidity sinks for Bitcoin or people like soaking up supply, now they're going to most likely be net sellers for the foreseeable future,
yeah.
at least until there's a pump, you know.
It was like the what is so funny about all of this, because like I'm not as into depth as you are in on this topic, but um like he was like dominating the whole space, like even on Twitter,
Uh,
uh I mean on X. But he, can you remember like the AI picture he posted when Bitcoin
yeah,
like
yeah,
had this first like major crash from all-time highs,
yeah.
and he's like this guy.
It was him in a life raft with the big ocean liner sinking into
Yes,
the into
yes,
the sea behind
exactly.
him. It's like,
Hold on.
oh God, it was so good.
Yeah, and then he sells like 32, right?
Yeah,
Sells 30, like not 100, right? not 1,000 Bitcoin. No. 32 Bitcoins and everything crashes. And like his stock, the MicroStrategy stock also crashed. I think 90% or something.
Yeah, so MicroStrategy was over 400 at one point, and last time I checked a week or two ago, it was below 100. And I remember one of the things that set off my spidey senses is this has been like, I don't know, probably a couple years ago, whenever like there are so all these people on Twitter were pumping up MicroStrategy and acting like this guy had like the phrase they used was like magic money machine or infinite money glitch.
No.
I was like, oh, okay, like I don't know what the hell's going on, but this isn't good, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at it's at $49.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I mean the funny thing is that it pumped
Uh-huh.
in I don't know, in 2000, also
Mhm.
from 0 to like 250 or 300. And then it was near zero or like, I don't know, couple of bucks. And then it had like this massive run to 400. And now it's like just, I mean, it looks like a pump and dump coin.
Well, he basically he was nearly convicted of fraud for his actions in the 2000 the dot-com bubble. Like
Ah,
he
okay.
very narrowly avoided a fraud conviction, from what I
Yeah,
understand. I off memory. I don't think he
yeah,
was convicted of fraud, but I think they slapped him on the wrist because he was playing some like his stuff like he one of the famous headlines from the 2000 bubble is you can look it up. There's a headline of like this guy loses like $6 billion in a day. I think it was Saylor. He nuked his company back then.
wow.
Yeah. So anyway, it's definitely been interesting to watch that play out. The again, like you said, as soon as he sold, for years he had a consistent narrative of never sell Bitcoin, and as soon as he sold that first 32, like all of those products sold off, and the Bitcoin itself sold off, and again now MicroStrategy itself is essentially I kind of putting a negative weight on Bitcoin for the going forward.
Yeah. There's also like I'm looking at the German news right now. It's like what's it called? Class action lawsuit, I guess.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah, there were some lawsuits filed against him for misrepresenting the risk of a couple of his products. I think it's specifically Stretch and
Yeah.
STRC, and the company the firm that was preparing the lawsuit that announced that is like a big time law firm in the U.S. It's not a I think it might have been the one that was involved in the tobacco settlement lawsuit. I mean,
Mm,
it's a high powered law firm, so um, that could also pose a big risk to MicroStrategy going forward
yeah.
too.
Yeah, the only reason why I know class action lawsuit is from because I watched Better Call Saul in English. I don't know if you know it, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, but yeah, in Germany we have different words.
yeah.
That, but
The
yeah,
same meeting, yeah.
yeah, but I mean, Michael Saylor, it's so funny, right? It's so it's so yeah, like the irony, right?
That photo you brought up is it was so classic. Jeez, that he posted that himself on his Twitter feed, like, and didn't think about how people would I don't know. It's so funny.
Yeah, and also like he had like this profile pic with the lightning eyes,
Oh yeah, the laser eyes.
the
Uh-huh.
laser.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely been some fun threads to follow.
But why laser eyes? They are so 2017.
So
Oh my God.
that was one of those like that was another one of those like Twitter like um I don't know if you call it suit coiners or just the financial the people that only care about the number go up. Like a lot of them were like a thing that from a few years ago is they were like put laser eyes until it hits 100,000. Like
Yes, yes, yes.
okay, guys,
Yeah, yeah.
no,
I found the photo. I found the photo. I'm sending it to you. One
okay,
second, just a refresher. I sent it on Discord.
okay.
This is not a good
So
sign,
good. Oh
man.
my God, it's a life raft. I thought it was a
Yeah,
boat. Yeah.
yeah.
So the ship that's going down behind him is it's not just going down, it's on fire too.
It's on fire. Yeah. Thanks, man. So that's the Bitcoin price, right? Oh my God. Oh my
Oh,
God. Yeah. Um, there was another like very interesting development. Um, and it was about precious metals.
oh yeah. Oh
Like
God.
we
Yeah.
had
Almost
a massive run of precious metals and like silver. I don't know. It went to like 90, right?
in
90.
in US dollars, it went over, I think over $120. It had been the highest it had been prior to this run was $50. It had touched just briefly twice, and it, like you said, had a monster run. Gold also, um, I don't know, like gold had a huge run too. Like all the precious metals just had a massive run.
Yeah, and it's interesting because also I I had some silver, right? And I was looking at X, and I bought it for very cheap, right?
Mhm.
Laughably cheap. And I was looking at X, and there was like a guy with like a very like a dog PFP NFT stuff, right?
Mhm.
And like dojis, right? Just a little bit different, right? You remember dojis,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Uh-huh.
And he was like, "Silver is the next Bitcoin. Stack silver." And he posted like fake images of his safe with all the bullions and coins and everything, and people were like euphoric, right? And it was real, like
Yeah.
thousands of likes and everything. And I'm like, huh? Like this is like where are we? Like where where are we? Right? This is a bubble. This is the
Yeah,
top of
one
the bubble.
so I have some background with silver. I was trading silver on Forex back when in 2011 when it made that it had a monster run back then. It went from in the course of a year, it went from like the $20 up to 50. I was trading
Yeah,
Forex at the time. I was trading Forex when it hit 50 and then got massacred. One of the things that I later I kind of stopped trading silver, and my view on silver is different because what I came to realize is like there's this like this bubble mentality or this group think about silver. And not to say that silver isn't great. I still think it's an amazing metal. It has a ton of properties and it has a lot of uses. But one of the things I noticed is that all of these articles and all of these people that were talking about the above ground supply of silver, they always quoted like something in the neighborhood of like a billion or two billion ounces above ground silver. But then
yeah,
I noticed I was like, wait, this doesn't make sense because if you go to like just like the U.S. Mint's output, they've produced hundreds of millions of troy ounces of silver in U.S. Mint products, and I know that people are not going and melting down you know premium premium coins
yeah,
for melt value. So I know that the numbers that the silver bulls like are are positing as above ground supplies are just they're wrong. I don't know what the truth is, but it's way higher than what they're representing it as because I think that's just the US Mint. I remember looking up like what the the annual, like they have all the mints publish what the amount of coinage that they've produced per year. So like the big, you have the Australian mint, the Austrian mint, Canadian mint, US mint
Yeah.
are big like silver. There's just tons of coins that have been produced in bars and all these other products over the past 30, 40 years. There's a I can't see more than a small amount of nice coins that have actually been melted down into industrial. So
Yeah. And it's like we also have like Swiss in Europe. We have also a lot of mints, and it is like we had like a hysteria at like I went to my local um what's it called, precious metal dealership, right?
yeah.
And there were people like everything was full, right? And there were like queues as well. And I'm like, well, I guess it's time to sell.
Yeah.
And I sold, and the next day there was the biggest silver red candle in the history of the world.
Oh, good job, man. That's great.
Man, I would do this for crypto as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have much, right? But I was like, I I cannot hold on to this. I have to sell it now. And it was interesting to like apply the dynamics and psychology of my crypto experience to the precious metal market, and it worked, right? I mean, I should have shorted it like
Yeah.
20x leverage, but I didn't know that I could do that. I was not familiar with leverage trading at that time.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I didn't do it. I never did it. So yeah, interesting. Next time I will think about it.
Well,
Oh
congrats
my
on the
God.
win, man. That
Thank
I
you.
know a lot of people in that I was hearing about, like a lot of people were buying on the way up that got wiped out because they again, I like towards the end of that run, it was like a J curve where the last few, well, it went like almost vertical and like kind of like you. It's like I'm not a genius, but I know that doesn't look like a very stable price action, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly. Oh
Yeah,
man.
I used to have a bunch of silver and um I I sold most of the rest of my silver back in probably 21 or 22 whenever in order to get a lunar moon plot. So
Oh my God. Yeah,
but yeah, it's funny, yeah, but that was the one thing the one thing I kind of figured out on my own about the precious metal market is that like a lot of it is these older guys that again, it's not to say that hard money, again, I still believe in hard money and all that, or the ideas behind it, but um like they're just operating off of bad information, at least for silver. I didn't really dig into the other ones, but at least for
yeah,
silver there's way more supply than above ground than they like to pretend. And I don't know if they're just ignorant or if that's an op or what the deal was, but you know I
yeah.
mean
There's also like the I always heard about the argument of the money, like our money is it's just it's not real, or silver has always been
yeah,
money, and if silver goes up then our money goes down, and we need it for technical stuff. In every Tesla there is like an ounce, like stuff like this, right?
yeah,
It's like this. In every Tesla there is an ounce of silver. That gives me like ENS, Arabic number vibes, right?
yeah.
The Dubai number plates.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, that's a it's funny. I was prepping before we started recording. I went up and I looked on ENS Vision. So you could be in the 999 club for I think $1,200 right now.
Yeah, 1,200.
Yeah, 1,200. And if you wanted to be in the 10K club, I think it's like $12 or $4 or something. I mean,
Oh my God! But they had like, oh, they also had like a fiasco going on.
yeah, yeah.
It was like, they are shutting down or something.
So
Or what was happening? I didn't really
so
catch
it
onto that.
so there's kind of some drama. So essentially like over the years, ENS had created a war chest off of their fees. They had created a war chest of in the neighborhood of 350 or 500 million, something like that, an enormous amount of money. And it from what I had read is that it looks like there was some controversy over how they were changing who could spend the money in like who really had ownership of the money in terms of like
Yeah,
the DAO and the control over that. And yeah, that was uh, a huge scandal where essentially pretty much everyone serious that was involved in it outside of Nick pretty much walked away, and the prices for quote unquote rare ENS names just cratered, right? Like
right.
again, like no one's speculating on ENS names anymore, and I mean it was a big bloodbath. I mean people had been dissatisfied for a while. I didn't really follow ENS closely, but you know I but having not followed it closely, I didn't see I didn't see or hear of anything they had done that was really like cool or groundbreaking or anything to really push the envelope in terms of I don't know, Ethereum or the naming system. And with a huge bankroll of again, zillions of dollars. I don't know. It seemed to me that the thing is that with to not produce anything notable or meaningful with that kind of bankroll, how can you justify these continuing these fees at least at this rate if you're not
Yeah,
doing anything with them, right? Like, or you're
yeah,
not doing anything that contributes to um to the Ethereum ecosystem, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I it just didn't make sense.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we had an entire, almost an entire episode together where we talked about the ENS boom, right? And where we just laughed at it the whole time.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. And the other category I looked at is the so ENS Vision lists another like like we had by the way we had a troll join Relics in the last year, trolling us a few times about their super rare special ENS names.
Ah, yeah, 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 yeah. I know who you are
Yeah,
talking about. Yeah, yeah. We are
yeah,
not going to mention his name. He will use an alt account again.
yeah. So like the most to me, what would be if I were to collect like the premier category would be like the first, I think 1,000 ENS names ever registered. I think those are less than $100 or something now. I mean uh it's just cratered,
Mm,
and no one and again like I just think it part of it is like this whole episode really is kind of like a crisis of confidence. Like another thing that like some people are starting to register like .gui names, which
mm.
are like super cheap and you can whatever. I don't know. So it again it kind of reminds me of like utility coins in the sense where every time I invested in a utility coin, crypto coin, I always got wrecked. Like they never worked out. And
Yeah,
um it just doesn't look like the ENS thing's gonna, or I shouldn't say it won't. It's just looking pretty high risk that there'll be, I don't know, high value long term assets, right? The
yeah.
holding costs for those triple. So I mentioned the 999 club. So those are 3-digit numbers. and the so again, you can buy one right now for $1,200. However, in order to keep it, you have to pay $600 a year in holding costs. So
Yeah.
these are like they're very expensive to maintain, and um, the numbers are universal. Bro thesis hasn't really played out yet, you know.
No,
So
no, it will take some time, I guess,
so
for
I
them. Yeah.
yeah, so I asked I was asking Claude, so for the Austrian, US Mint, and I didn't include Canadian. They produced a ton. So it's roughly 1 billion ounces in the last 20 or 30 years or 20 years.
Mhm.
It's 1 billion ounces just from those mints, right?
Yeah.
So again, that's like if the official above ground supply is 2 billion ounces, that's adding 50% to the supply. And again, you can go back like I would probably calculate that back to the 80s, right?
Mhm.
For that instead. So like let's say 40 years across all of those mints, and it's going to be probably closer to 2 billion ounces
Yeah.
of silver. That's again, I don't think it's going to be very common for people to melt down, U.S. Eagles or Philharmonics or whatever for melt value. Like you go
Yeah.
into a coin shop and you pay a premium for those rounds.
That's true. Yes. Yeah, we also have like blatant paper silver manipulation
Yeah.
market, right? So it may be okay. I get it, right? Silver might be undervalued, right?
Mhm.
But it doesn't really matter when you have a whole
Right.
market that is 10 times bigger based on nothing suppressing the real value, right?
That's something I forgot is so I studied like I don't know if we talked about it, but that the original move from silver that when it went to $50 with the Hunt brothers, essentially they broke the back of the Hunt brothers by changing the rules of the market, right?
Yeah,
So like they liquidated it's a rigged game, right? So like they set the biggest one of the biggest silver markets that was I think it was Comex in Chicago. They changed it to sell only. So of course the price is going to go down if you can't buy. So that's how they broke the back of the Hunt brothers. And in a couple of funny things happened in this bull run for silver and gold is they had quote unquote data center outages where when the price of silver and gold was going up really high or really quickly,
mm,
they stopped trading for a day or two at a time because the data center like was overheating, but no one else was having those problems. So yeah, more games, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, like you can't win honestly in those markets, right?
no, not really. Like it takes a lot of time, right?
Mhm.
And you have to be like delirious in some cases, right? You have to stick to really to make it in some way your identity, right?
Well, and the other thing too is it's the opportunity cost. So let's say after the 2011 run when it went down to the teens or 20s, like if you bought it let's say you bought it at $20, you had to wait for, what, 14 years or something for that
Yeah,
monster run. That's a long time to have your
yeah,
cash locked up in a you know non-income producing asset.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah, it's definitely been a wild year too. The other thing that's been going on is we have a lot of global political instability in part due to the U.S. government has been engaged in some warfare against the wishes of their citizenry. So that's caused a lot of um, like I even forgot about that. We had like the tariffs that were unilaterally imposed and then rolled back. I don't know. It's there's just been a lot of chaos in the markets. So
Yeah,
it's a
it's
lot to keep up with.
it's true. It's all like I'm always I try to find my balance with gardening, right? Because the other stuff is just upsetting me, right?
Yeah, I've started to pay less attention to it because
Yeah,
what I've realized is that so I'm in the US, and what's become very apparent is that the government at this point is completely rogue. They're literally just going to do whatever they want. It doesn't matter what the citizens want, you know. I mean,
yeah,
maybe it always was, but they at least had a pretense. They've dropped the pretense now. And
yeah.
so, you know,
Now they're just showing it
yeah,
blatantly and mocking us. Yeah, it's in Germany. It's the same, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, the whole like social media landscape also changed, and like X, and for me, X is like a or other social media doesn't really matter, right? It's like a catalyst for just to yeah to um yeah to extremists, no, but it's to push a certain kind of narrative, right? And it's like, oh, it's overly political in my opinion. It's,
yeah,
it's,
exactly.
for, it's just a political instrument now.
Yeah, exactly. There's less. I've noticed that in my feeds, for sure, is that I used to get a lot of crypto, crypto or NFT stuff, and now there's just like tons of political stuff that, again, it's just inflammatory. Where like again, like there's nothing we can really. Or I shouldn't say there's nothing we can do. There's very few productive ways to deal with what's happening.
Yeah,
So
it's also like, I remember, I don't know if you talked about it, but the Charlie Kirk assassination, and like I don't want to get into the specifics, but my feed, right,
mhm.
was full of uncensored videos
Oh yeah.
of that incident,
Mhm.
right? And the same with the stabbing of this Ukrainian girl on the train,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh god.
Like
Yeah.
everything was full of it, right?
Mhm.
And so it's just it's upsetting, right? I wanted to just have uh, this my own echo chamber of crypto art,
Yeah.
and yeah, but that's just the way things change, right?
Well, again, it's hard for me to know how much of that is the intentional or the algorithm, but I mean, I guess like you said earlier, I don't know if it was on the recording, but the number of people that are transacting or collecting on crypto are missed back to like pre 2021
Yeah,
levels, So um, there's just a lot. There's I can say on a lot of these, there's not a lot of activity on Ethereum that I see, and same thing for Counterparty's gotten really quiet too.
mm,
Um, but there's some cool stuff going on. I'm gonna catch up with I haven't had the time to keep up with all the latest developments this year because of all the just a lot of stuff going on and some personal stuff. So I'm gonna catch up
yeah,
with Dave uh and catch up on the latest counterparty news and whatnot. But I'm just trying to keep my head down, and I've still been collecting here and there when I can. Um, um, because like you, I still believe oh, there's one other. This is kind of maybe a non sequitur, but I um, I fired up my VR headset again earlier this year, late last year, and uh, I was exploring some VR chat worlds and just kind of again trying to get an understanding of I don't know what people are using it for and how and where things are going. And I I got a very to me, I'm more convinced than ever that I don't know the time frame, but I do think that, but whether it's going to be using goggles or not, but VR is definitely going to be a huge factor in the future. So
Okay.
again, like the technology could look completely different. So for example, maybe we have, instead of having goggles, you have, they have they can directly stimulate that through like brainwave entrainment or something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I do think it'll be I do think it's going to be huge in the future. Again, that could be 20 years out or 50 years out, but um, I do think that's going to be huge.
That's interesting. The thing is, I never had a VR headset on
Oh, really?
for some reason. Yeah, I never got in touch with it, with the technology.
Well, if we ever meet up, we'll have to do that. So I've got I picked up a big screen beyond, is it the one or the two? It's the one, which is a relatively one of the better ones. And I got the controllers and the lighthouses and everything just to, I mean, it's not the absolute best because now, like this stuff changes pretty quickly, but it's interesting. Um I again, one reason I don't think it'll hit that the threshold where it needs to for a while is with the AI bubble, like GPUs have gotten crazy expensive, and no one's going to pay $4,000 for a GPU to be able to like. I shouldn't say no one. Very few people can afford to pay $4,000 for a GPU to play games, right? Like
Yeah,
that's gotten into the level of, so the technology uh, needs to get cheaper and improve for things to get more immersive and smoother. You know,
yeah.
but no,
Yeah.
it's you really do it is really cool to experience with one of the newer high res headsets with a good rig. It's really cool.
Okay,
Like
maybe I have to check it out.
yeah, like, and again, it's not to judge it for where it's at right now. I think for me it was really more about being able to get a sense for where it could be in the future, right?
Mm, interesting. Yeah, I think VR, I think even the idea of the metaverse, it wasn't so far-fetched, right? With
Mhm.
AI ramping up, um with all these changes happening, I think it's getting more realistic, right?
I think, yeah, I mean, so as an example, like you bring up the AI thing, which is great because think about how much it makes sense for like currently, like most people, in order to create like their little a VR world or whatever, they have to learn how to use like Unity or one of these game editors in order to basically create their little world, right? But think about them being able to like go into VR and then being able to tell like Claude or whatever their coding agent is to be like, no, like make like set up this bookshelf and then put this and this in there and then and
Yeah,
iterate like visual, like they can be in the space where they're telling the coding agent to create and tweak it and modify it. Yeah, I mean yeah, it's
yes, exactly. Exactly. Become like become like the life architect of the world,
mhm,
of your own world,
yeah,
right? No, no, do it like this. Oh, you mean like this? And it's like visualizes instantly, right?
yeah, mhm,
So it just it makes you a what's it called? Like a transhumanistic creator in some way. Like I I don't even know where we would be there. Like like a transcendent, like a human transcendence in some way. Like where are we on the spectrum of evolution when we
yeah,
reach a point? You know what I mean?
yeah. One
Like
thing, like I feel stupid because I didn't read it like when I was a kid, a teenager, it had been recommended many times. Uh, but or but Snow Crash is a book. Like I read it a couple years ago, and it is crazy how prescient. Like that was written in the '90s, and it's like you should read that because that fits into when I read it, I was like, it really fits in very closely with what we've been kind of our vision for digital collectibles and stuff too, and how I don't know, it's very close. Um, I think you'd enjoy that.
Hmm.
I'll shoot
Snow
you a
Crash.
link.
Someone, someone I met at a NFT
Mhm.
festival told me about that book. I don't know who it is, right, or who it was, but he specifically told me about that book and that I should read it because it has such a generic name, right?
Yeah,
So it was stuck in my brain. Now you're telling me to read it, so I should probably do it.
it's not a super long book either. But no, it's fantastic. I'd highly recommend that.
Yeah. I mean, if it's going to be true, they will use NFTs, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's what like he wrote this in the '90s before like like he talks about digital property, but he like some of that stuff wasn't even like the concept of the individual objects being, I don't know, like you'll he was very close in where we're already at today, right?
Okay. Snow Crash. Interesting. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm looking at the book cover right now. Has like Babylonian, or is it Assyric, Sumerian symbology mixed. Interesting. Yeah, thank you for that recommendation. I will definitely check it out.
Yeah, you can get it super cheap online because they printed a ton of copies, or you can get it from a library or something. So
Mm, yeah, maybe, probably it's going to happen, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah.
it's
I mean, I still, like you said, I still believe that means we're in the midst of a ton of change across elements of society and government, all this other stuff. But one thing I still believe is that um, digital ownership is gonna play an increasingly large part of our day to day existence in the
yeah,
future. And if that's the case, then you know I still think the thesis for these earliest decentralized collectibles is like makes sense as a thing, right?
yeah, yeah. It does. It does. And even though there is no, like, I mean, if you talk to anyone in Relics right now, they would agree, right?
Mhm.
If you would talk to anyone outside of Relics in the NFT space, they would probably disagree.
Mhm.
And most people in the world right now, they don't have it on their, it's not even in
And the thing that
their
I mean, it reminds me of the you know, like in the early, it reminds me of like the early 20 teens. Like if you were aware of cryptocurrency or Bitcoin and you talk to anyone else, they always like looked at you like you were crazy. Like that,
yeah,
like, you know, I just don't think that, um, I just don't think I think it'll take time, you know.
yeah, yeah. I think
But I mean,
so.
it's enough, like, you know, I think, you know, I think the kind of the corruption and some of the stuff going on has hurt the reputation of crypto, but, you know, and again, like there's you know some less pleasant aspects about the history of Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these other things. It doesn't mean that like that's just part of kind of like anything existing in human society has like
Yeah,
goes a circuitous route, right? So, but I do still think that one of the things I realized is that even if Bitcoin and Ethereum fail as currencies, I do think there's a decent chance that these assets actually end up being one of the most valuable things, and could end up basically being reason enough to keep the network running, right?
Yeah. The the I always think about there is a Pepe. I know you are the expert in that matter, where you can see like in a futuristic world there's like a female Pepe sitting on the computer, and there is like wanted on the Nakamoto, and it's like
Yeah, futures
$10 million or
Pepe.
something. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. I always think about it.
Me too. You know, it's funny. That was one of the favorites in my collection, and I had the opportunity. Someone reached out, and I got a second one for my collection to eventually, because I never wanted, like, I want to, if possible, keep my collection intact. So I got a second one to eventually sell or trade or whatever. But that's
Yeah.
one of my favorites.
Yeah, yeah. I always think about it because it's so, I don't know, it's not that, it is not that unrealistic, I think. But we talked
Yeah.
about that many times, right? If
Mhm.
people want to hear us like talking about how we think about how it's going to play out, they can listen to uh, the other episodes we did, right? And that it
Yeah.
basically nothing has changed. And I mean, I know that in some case, in some way, I have the um what is it, responsibility to like keep this idea alive, but I I don't really think that it is necessary because all the people that are in our Discord, they are working autonomously, right? They all
Mhm.
have their own ideas. They all have their own. They are all leaders in their own right, and it's just a thing of it's just a habitual thing that we are just doing it in the NFT Relics Discord.
Yeah, in the like, it's I really love the era of crypto that is captured in a lot of these relics too, Um,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, Rare Pepes is I don't know, such a great project. I really love that. And um,
Hmm. It
did we
is.
talk? Yeah, did we talk since I released that? I got my Pepelangelo painting as a fake rare.
Um, I don't know. I don't think so. No, the last thing we talked about was about the action figure.
Oh no, so yeah, this is so I commissioned always wanted to. I commissioned a custom oil painting from Pepelangelo. And I submitted and got it accepted into Fake Rares, and as a 21 supply, and I keeping the entire supply to myself. Um,
Of course.
it's called the Big Degen.
I'm going to look it up.
I just sent it to you in Discord.
Okay. Yeah. Oh man, Pavlangelo, I have it's been a long time since I interacted with her as well. I had a uh very good talks with her. A very good I I was honored to have like met her in several occasions, on several occasions. And like she's one of my favorite crypto artists.
Yeah,
And
me too.
she's
She's such a nice person too.
yes, 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 and very unique way of doing things. And yeah, someday maybe she's listening to this, but I wish her all the best. I hope her Japanese she's learning it, I hope. because I have learned Japanese meanwhile and visited Japan a couple of times. So yeah, they're also. I mean, the crypto art scene is also something that I was involved and still am. And but of course, because of the sentiment and everything, it's just I don't really uh spend so much time in it now. But I really hope, for example, that we have another castle party from Trevor Jones,
Yeah.
uh, or yeah, like an HNFT fest, right? It's just I don't know. I miss these times so much. Really, I really do miss these times so much. But you cannot have good times all the time, right? It's just the way life is, right? You have like these highs and you have lows, and you grow a lot, right? And I just hope that my life is I hope that I live a life that is unpredictable in both ways, and it's just for me it's just important that I just become a better person and a more wiser person. But yeah, if I had the means, I would definitely do a relics meetup.
That,
There's no
yeah,
no question about it.
well, whenever this pops off, Blackstar, we definitely have to do that.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just looking at the Papalangelo. Yeah, beanie. Yeah, this one is great. One is
She did
great.
a great job. My only regret is I didn't, well, I couldn't afford to, but my only regret is I didn't get it bigger, you know?
Yeah,
She did a great job.
good times.
Yeah, I think there's one other thing. Oh, one other thing I thought I would ask you about is something that, with the kind of the shifting landscape in terms of kind of like the sentiment towards crypto, like the financialization with ETFs and Saylor and all that. One of the things that's occurred to me is everyone's, or I shouldn't say everyone, a lot of people are anticipating that the 4 year cycle holds, and I'm not necessarily sure that it does. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I think I mean if you ask uh one of our members, Permaweave, I hope that's correctly pronounced. But he said that the 4 year cycle was precise, right? For Bitcoin, like Bitcoin had another high and it topped and now it's going down. But the thing is, what's so odd is that anything else was rather uninteresting. Like now we didn't had a proper bull run like we had in 2021, right?
Right.
We, we simply didn't. It's just, and maybe it's because the proportions of the 2021 to 2022 and even 2023 bull run was so massive, right?
Mhm.
And it was just it in no it was not a typical. It was like a multi bubble, right? We had a bubble on everything in 2021, maybe also due to Corona, but we just needed a lot more time to cool off, right?
Yeah.
And it is. I mean, we will see another bull run. It's just the way market works, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course. And the cycle, the 4 year cycle that most people like, their shoot, like if that holds, in the bottom would be towards the end of this year, like October, November-ish, something like that. But yeah, I'm not saying that it never pumps again, obviously, but I I've just been kind of thinking to myself, like, I don't know if we've had this cycle for a long time, but I don't know if I don't know if it holds as is, or if we have a different type of market cycle going into the future. Because like part of the narrative in the past that led into that is that more people were adopting Bitcoin and crypto, and
Yeah,
they're not anymore. The only exposure that more people are getting into is through these custodial products, whether it be ETFs or MicroStrategy or whatnot.
yeah,
You don't see people that are um, actually like, well, one way is that like right now you can send, like I can send a transaction on Bitcoin for less than $1, right? Like there's no
yeah.
usage, like the mempool's not full. So
It's, I guess, I I don't know. I don't want to to pass on an opinion, like, or to car. I don't want because I don't really have one. I have no idea
okay,
because
yeah, yeah. I
it's
well,
like
I just thought I'd ask if you had one either way. Yeah,
yeah,
because I don't know either. But the thought occurred to me that we might see this, we might shift to a different type of cycle anyway. But
yeah. Maybe we have Bitcoin like hovering at a certain price for a long time, and just you know this rainbow pattern, right?
yeah, yeah,
But they wanted to add another color. Said if this keeps dropping, we have to add another color, guys.
it's
But
in the ultraviolet right now. You don't need
yeah,
to add a color, right?
you can't see it.
Yeah, no,
So, but it will eventually flatten out, right? I guess there was someone in, I don't know who it was, right? It was back when Bitcoin was like $2,000, and he was like, "Oh, Bitcoin will eventually get to gold's market capitalization, and then it will just flatten out, right?" But I don't know. I don't think that Ethereum is going to die, right? I don't
no,
think
yeah,
that Chainlink is going to die, or Monero, or all these other coins, right? There is institutional groundwork is also there to implement things, right? It's not just extraction, right? We have the World Economic Forum that is very, very excited about smart contracts, right?
yes,
Klaus Schwab, that Star Wars villain type of guy that was like the leader of the WEF. He, um, he he wrote a book in 2015. I think it was 2015, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, where he explained smart contracts. Right. He also cited Chainlink uh, as with the website of Chainlink as like um, the main what's it called, the main bridge between on and off chain data, right? And that it will be one of the driving factors of the fourth industrial revolution, which is crazy, right?
mhm.
So it is, for me. It's just an evolution that takes time. Maybe the stars have to align in a certain position, right? And we
You
will.
brought up something. You reminded me of something too that I guess is noteworthy for sure. Is in the last year as well, we've seen a big shakeup in the Ethereum Foundation and the roadmap for Ethereum that I think is positive.
Mm,
Um, for the past, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, they've been really focused um, on like kind of this roll up centric model, which really was a terrible user experience for people to have to um, to have to like send your coins from one chain to another through these different bridges, or like it was a terrible user experience. And now they're Vitalik is he's published that they're tackling two things that I think are really important. One is improving the L1 really focusing on ensuring that Ethereum becomes implements quantum resistance across
Yeah,
all of its functions. If they take that seriously, then they can leapfrog Bitcoin in that front. So
yeah, yeah. Quantum resistance is probably the most important.
yeah, for sure. I think so. I mean, because if um, if the cryptography underlying ownership breaks, then what do you have, right?
It's gone. It's gone, and it's all gone, right?
I know, right? Then
Everything.
Blackstar, we have to get we have to get cardboard boxes underneath the same bridge if that happens.
It's it's over. Oh
It's
my God,
over.
it's never been so over.
Exactly.
We have to go to real world collecting.
Oh, no, I
Yeah.
can't do it.
Oh my God. And you go to a card store. You say, "What's the contract address for this one?" Right?
Oh yeah,
When
I guess that was one of the, I guess we'll wrap it up with this, but I guess one other thing that was kind of fun to see pop up this year is there was kind of a big uh kind of a pop of for real world assets that are traded on crypto platforms where people were tokenizing their Pokemon cards, and then they'd be able to trade ownership that they could redeem through this company and then get the cards sent to them if they wanted, right?
Mhm.
That was
Yeah.
something that at least I saw in some of the collectible news and whatnot. It was popular for a while. So
I like I come from a from a collecting background, right? But I was never like I have some Pokemon cards from back in the day, but I was always a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan,
mhm.
right? Yu-Gi-Oh was the game that I played my whole life, and it is relatively unknown when it comes to prices and everything. And Pokemon had this explosive boom in this year as well, right? So it's still in this mania, and I don't know if it has cooled down, but there were like scalpers, right?
Yeah.
These people that just buy everything from Walmart just to resell it like directly, and it's like the people from the NFT days that use like mint like these bots to get into to when they have like these mint pages, right?
Hmm.
And they use bots to like instant mint everything,
Hmm.
right? Gives me the same vibes. But the thing with Pokemon, what happened is that essentially the whole grading world, especially PSA,
Hmm.
um, it turned out that they do a lot of shady stuff, right?
Oh, okay.
They buy out. They make you an offer for a card, right? They grade it as a 9, for example, and then they buy it from you if you accept, and then
Oh,
they regrade it as a higher, as a 10,
oh,
and then
no
it has like,
way.
yes, and then it has like a
Oh my God.
5x. Yeah. Or people,
Scandalous.
yes, people have submitted um like the same card twice and get like different kinds of gradings. So they got one and then they cracked it
Mhm.
from this blister, right? And then they submitted it again and then they got like a higher or a lower grade. So some people they do that with nines to get
Mhm.
a 10 because tens are like 5 times more expensive sometimes.
Yeah, so it makes sense to just buy a bunch of nines and crack them and resubmit them. And if one of them pans out, then you've paid for, you know, the
Yeah,
rest.
but the problem is that it's going so out of hand that they have like millions of cards
Mhm.
um in like not submitted yet. Like they have stopped the submission process so people cannot send stuff to them anymore because
Mhm.
they're so overloaded. And it came out, it was leaked that the average time of grading a card was under 10 seconds.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Whoa.
10 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And a lot of stuff. Like there's a whole like documentary about it, right?
Mhm.
And that even like the first card they ever graded, which was like a very expensive baseball card, it also had like um massive flaws, or it was like what was it? It was um changed in some way. It was manipulated, right?
Okay.
The first card they ever graded itself was like forged or something,
Mhm.
and so a lot of shady stuff. And then you had like the people behind the illustrator card of Pokemon that like bought like Logan Paul bought it,
Oh
right?
yeah. Jeez. That guy's a
And it's
scumbag.
yeah, yeah, and he has like a very like a backing uh or like the connection with the company, and they were one of the trade hold the trademark holders of Pokemon in the US, and they
Okay.
like pumped the Pokemon market so that they can just sell more products or something.
Uh-huh.
Um, in orchestration with Logan Paul as the social media catalyst. So
You know, yeah, I had no idea about PSA, but I like you just reminded me. So one of the big scams is that Logan Paul, like, he had originally tokenized this very expensive Pokemon card on his own platform, and then he forcefully bought out the card from the holders at a lower price than he later flipped it at a higher price, and the people who thought they had tokenized ownership basically were rugged, you know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not surprising he scammed people with this crypto zoo thing,
Yeah, he has a long
right?
history of scamming.
A long history of scamming, and he's like, I mean, he's untouchable for some reason, right?
Yeah,
Nobody can, like, he has no problems at all, which is very suspicious. But yeah, that's just the way. I mean, just about the Pokemon stuff, right? The real life collectible.
I had no idea
So,
that because not being, I'm not really big into like the IRL cards. I never really got big into that, but I had always I'd heard of PSA, and I heard that they were considered the gold standard, so I didn't know that they were super shady as well. That's very scandalous for them to again to grade it as one at a lower level and then buy it from you and you know
yeah,
upgrade the grading.
yeah, I know. But PSA, I will send you the link to the documentary.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely check that out. That sounds yeah, that sounds interesting.
Hmm.
Well, scams everywhere, right?
Yeah, a scam world.
Well, it's is there anything else you wanted to cover? Is there anything you've picked up this year you wanted to brag about or any?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm uh I'm just yeah, there's maybe going to be like in October, there's going to be some development on the NFT relics, the relics DAO.
Oh yeah.
So people that are listening right now and that are members of the Discord, they can expect something that is going to yeah, going to come out of the
Oh,
relics DAO.
it's been a period of time, so that makes
Yes,
sense.
yes, and so I won't I don't have any details, but just a reminder. So a couple of more months, 3 4 months, and then yeah, it's going to be interesting. And
Yeah, well,
maybe this will start something, right?
well, that That I'm definitely looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
Yeah. It will.
Yeah, well, man, this has been a fun conversation. Kind of bounced around all over the place, but
Yes.